And welcome, Hoosier Nation, to our 26th episode of the Hoosier Sound. I'm your host, Noah Freeman, and I'm here with Matthew Lukens. Our show has one main goal: to give you our perspective of IU sports from a point of view as a student or young adult. In addition, we will also give our view on hot takes from around the world of sports. We'll be going live every Tuesday evening at 8:30 p.m., but if you miss us live, you can subscribe to various networks so you can listen on your own time. We're now on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and our live stream will be posted on our YouTube page after each recording. All you got to do is search for The Hoosier Sound wherever you listen to podcasts and just hit subscribe. It's simple, easy, and it'll mean a lot to us if you guys hit that subscribe button. Social media is also big for us, and we post updates for you guys in Facebook and Twitter. Make sure to give us a like and a follow, as well as subscribe on our YouTube account. All the information is in the description below. You can check out our website, thehoosiersound.com, to find all of our information in one place. All right, Hoosier Nation, it's time for some sports talk. But real quick, we are going to preview for a hot sec our episode next week. We are pleased to announce that next week we are officially doing a podcast with the one and only Andy Bottoms of the Assembly Call. He is, if you don't know much about him, or if you don't listen to the Assembly Call, he's a he's a world-class bracketologist. He really knows a lot about that stuff. He puts a lot of time and effort into his brackets, and he's not just a guy that might follow kind of what's trending. He really goes into looking under what details and what he thinks he's going to put into these bracketologists, and a lot of times it's really different, and sometimes and a lot of times he's right. So it's going to be great. Listen to us. We're going to preview March Madness because Selection Sunday is this Sunday. It's about time.
It's March, people.
It's March, and sadly, Hoosier Nation, we are. It's not official, but we are not going to go to we're not going to go to the big dance itself, but that's okay.
Or the little dance.
Yeah, technically we're not through yet, but yeah, we can get into that. But let's first start with the Big Ten tournament. Yeah, but before we get into some of the stuff, Matt, last week we told our listeners that we would have a sneak peek basically at what happened in Madison Square Garden and what you thought, since we had one of our very own on the ground floor basically doing all the stuff there.
Yeah, literally on the ground in Madison Square Garden. Well, first off, I thought it was starting great because as we walked into the arena, Joe Biden walks past us outside the arena, and I was like,
dang, that's cool.
"Oh, this is starting off." I didn't get to see him, but a bunch of other people were like yelling at him, and I was like very confused why people were yelling outside Madison Square Garden, which was very sketchy. And then they all came in and were like, "Oh my God, it was Joe Biden!" And I was like, "I missed Joe Biden. I missed Joe Biden because I was carrying a tuba in." Anyways, or sousaphone, sorry, but the correct term. So we go into Madison Square Garden. It was fine. It was whatever. We're chilling backstage, waiting for, I think it was the Penn State Northwestern game to finish. Mm-hmm. And one of the clarinets and I go, and can we go out on the floor for a bit while the game's going on? I'm like, okay. We saw someone hear whistles behind us. And I turn around, like, what's going on behind us? And I go back in the hallway, and there's our basketball team doing their pregame stretches underneath Madison Square Garden in front of both the Rutgers and the IU band. So that was fun.
That was really cool. Yeah, I got to do that. I know when you and I, we actually went, when we went to the tournament a couple years ago when they went to, what was it, Iowa? Yeah, when they went to Iowa, they got to do that too. And I thought it's really cool just to see them just see them warming up literally right in front of you, doing all their pregame warm-ups and all that stuff. Yeah. And they don't care that you're watching.
No, they don't care. Actually, they included us in it, which was kind of fun.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. Like, team spirit. This is going to be awesome. We walk out. It's the mecca of all basketball arenas. We walk all the way across Madison Square Garden because we're on the opposite side of where we were, which I should have known was a sign of things to come. Mm-hmm. But anyways, we walk all the way across, and I'm lugging other people's instruments and whatever with me. Get to the other side, I sit down. My dad's in New York. My dad's at the game, got tickets. So I called my dad, and I'm like, where are you sitting? He's all the way up to my right, up in the second in the rafters. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be great. We're gonna start off great. And the beginning of the game, I think we were 24-8. And
It was
at
so
one
close to
point, it
that,
was
yeah.
like 20-5, and I was like, and I have a theory that like 80% of the time, if you have a 15-point lead, you're going to win the game. Like
Especially
by more than 15 or more. If you have a
es-
15-point lead, you're going to win the game.
especially in college basketball. The NBA is really different. Like the NBA, they're good enough players to where there's always a chance of a comeback. But yeah, I agree. In college basketball, it's
We
really
had a
hard.
16-point lead. No, not even that. 18-point lead. An 18-point lead. And I'm like, this is over. It's over in the first half.
I was literally I texted you and stuff that
Yeah.
that IU shouldn't be playing. Like IU should stop playing so well so they can save some for the next game tomorrow. So they didn't put all of it out on the floor.
Adding that last part in is what killed us, because then we let Rutgers get confidence by the end of the half, and they were winning by 1 by the end of the half.
Yeah.
Complete flip. I don't know what happened.
And I honestly thought that IU was going to turn it around. I thought IU was gonna because they were playing so well. I'm like, there's no way for the next 30 minutes that they're just gonna go completely away from what they did in the first 10 minutes. But it was really a complete 180, and it just didn't flip back on, not even for a little bit, which was surprising.
All the credit goes to Rutgers, though. Literally all, and it's not even like you can go back and be like, why did we take 20-something threes? And maybe make that an argument. But it's all on Rutgers. Rutgers was making stupid shots.
Yeah.
They still kept it close. Corey Sanders, I don't even know where he came from. I think the game we played them, he's 1 for 11 shooting, which is awful.
Probably because he shoots all of those same shots, and then on a normal day we just happen to get
9 points. He drops 29 points on us. I was like, I just felt bad that our senior guards had to go out that way with another guard just completely demoralizing them in front of the Madison Square Garden faithful. We really kept the Rutgers fans quiet. I must tell you, I thought most of the fans were IU fans for like the first 10 minutes. And then, boy, was I wrong, because they got loud.
They got loud, yeah.
They got loud. Then they got loud.
Court advantage, yeah.
And I was like, and we're screaming over in the corner. We had one belligerent Rutgers fan behind the band screaming at us.
But
we're still yelling in the corner, being our peppy selves, all the way to the end, and they brought me hope. They were starting hitting threes at the end, and I was like,
yeah, they started to make it close.
I was like, this could happen. We could atone for our mistakes. But nah. No, we were not Cersei Lannister. We were more like the Hound. I'm not going to ruin anything in Game of Thrones, but we did get our butts kicked. So
that's a Game of Thrones reference if you guys don't watch Game of Thrones, which is a great TV show, by the way. But yeah, let's not rehash a lot of stuff. I know it's honestly, you could dive into the Rutgers game a lot, but honestly, there's not much to talk about just because
it was such a bad game. Justin Smith was not playing most of the time. I don't know why, but I feel like maybe Archie didn't think he was, good for the matchup or whatever. You could go in depth about it, but
at the end of the day, IU stopped playing. Yeah.
And I'm promising you, there was the plane ride back from DC last year with the players last year was way more comfortable than the plane ride back this year after losing to Rutgers. Because when we got on the plane on Friday to fly home, because we stayed the night Thursday night, we got on the plane Friday night. I have never seen a group of people more miserable in my life. And that includes Coach Miller. Because Coach Miller was pissed. Like, in the corner of his first class aisle, like, finger on the pressure points, up against the window, like eyes closed, grimacing.
The day after, too.
The day after. The morning after. He was upset. All the players had their hoods up, like tied in, like
And this is also this is a private charter flight. Like the only
Yeah.
other people besides coaches that are on that flight is just the band and the cheerleaders. So that's it.
Some media members and some player personnel people
But yeah, it's all like basically in-house family. So it's yeah. And they were still like that. So I kind of, at least as much as all that, that's kind of cool to see going forward into the future. That it's like, man, they knew they cared. They knew they messed up. And that and honestly, who knows? Maybe most of the team took that this year, and they're just going to go next year, and they're going to be like, it doesn't matter if we play Rutgers again, and Rutgers doesn't win a Big Ten game next year. Then like that they're just going to make sure that they put the foot on the throat and they don't take it off, because they honestly they put their foot on the throat of Rutgers, and they just literally just turn away. They turned away and walked away before Rutgers was completely out of it. But let's not rehash a lot of that much more. Let's get into some of the other stuff we can talk about. We're just going to talk about some of the NCAA stuff, and then possibly the end of IU season. I know after we'll get into March Madness and all that stuff, we'll designate one podcast just to talk about IU season in general, so we can go more than just 10 minutes and we don't have to rush through everything. But let's talk a little bit more about March Madness and then the rest of IU season. But before that, let's do our weekly segment of the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll start out just to make sure if Matt gets something, but
okay.
We'll do the good, which is it's Sunday. This Sunday, March Madness comes back, and I think that's more good than anything else. That just March Madness is back, whether or not IU's in it. It's still everyone's favorite time of the year, that kind of stuff. So
Yep.
It'll be nice to have that as well. Then the bad is that, man. So the worst part about IU getting out in the Big Ten tournament was just that that they got out. But then the worst part was that Michigan and Purdue were the Big Ten teams in the championship game. Like literally, could you pick two worst teams for IU fans? Just Michigan and Purdue. Like I was rooting. Sadly, I had to root for Michigan, and Michigan is ugh. Man, I like that. That's saying something when you have to root for Michigan.
Kill for John Boeheim to be our coach, Jim Boeheim.
Jim Boeheim.
Yeah, I would kill for him to be our coach.
How so?
I don't know. They always do well in tournaments, and when you least expect them to do well, like I did not expect them to do well this year, they do fantastically well in the Big Ten tournament. And now they're a 4 or 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. So,
wait, are you talking? Wait, Michigan?
Yeah, no, John Beeline, not Boeheim.
I was like,
they're so close. I don't know.
I was like, yeah, Syracuse did pretty well, but they weren't like that good. And then you said 4 or 5. John, and I'm like, Syracuse is on the bubble right now.
Yeah, well, we're 1 or 2 wins away from being on the bubble, so.
Exactly, sadly.
Or 1 or 2 bad losses,
that being considered at least, yeah. But yeah, that was my bad, was that we had to have a Big Ten tournament championship with Michigan and Purdue, yeah, and rooting for Michigan to win a back-to-back game, and man, but that was bad. And then the ugly was IU's game. Talked about that. That was ugly. Oh, yeah. The last 30 minutes. All right, but what about you? Good, bad, ugly.
Good. Baseball's back. IU baseball back in session. We killing it. They lost their first game, and I think they've won like 8 straight. So we're killing it, baseball, and we're ranked, I think.
Go out and see some games too, because it's actual real baseball. It's not like the MLB where they're just doing all the spring training stuff. IU season has started for real, and these are real games.
Oh, it's good baseball. So, and the hot dogs are really good. So go out, get a hot dog, chill at the game.
They're free. It's free.
Yeah. The baseball games are free, so go see them. They're like the soccer games. Go see them. Bad. Probably has to be some of the reports about the NCAA. Did you guys talk about this last week?
Not too much, honestly. Actually,
all right. Well, it's still lingering. The whole, is ESPN lying? Is ESPN not lying? The Yahoo article. Is it true? Is it not true? What is going on? I don't know. We're waiting for the FBI report to come out. That will be ugly when it comes out. But right now, it's ominous, so it's
I
bad.
say, yeah, I don't think we talked about it because really, honestly, with all that stuff, I think a lot of it there's truth to it, but honestly, it's all speculation right now. Because yeah, that was a great article. They got a lot of information, but the FBI didn't put anything out. It's just piecing some things together. So there's not really you can say any concrete stuff. So
Yeah, not yet.
well, I think the FBI is probably. I don't think they're going to come out with it before the tournament's over, which means then we're technically at kind of a lull in the off season of a lot of the big IU sporting events. So we'll be able to touch in on that. But nice.
And my ugly has to be the Big Ten tournament being in New York City, because I was there and I love going to New York City, and there was no one there. There was no one there. I promise you, nobody even knew it was going on. And yes, New York's a big city. Yes, New York's got a lot of things going on. But I saw more advertisements for the ACC tourney than I saw for the Big Ten tourney. Maybe because ACC tournament's in a week and they're trying to get awareness or whatever, but I'm telling you, I saw maybe 2 advertisements for the Big Ten tournament while I was there. I also tried to avoid tried to avoid Times Square as much as possible, so maybe that's the problem. But when I was everywhere else, it was ACC tournament, ACC tournament, ACC tournament. So yeah, and that's not even the main tournament in New York City. The Big East tournament has been New York City
at MSG, and yeah. Okay, but the championship game was a sold-out crowd.
Oh, yes.
Sold-out crowd.
Yes. But Michigan fans travel well, and Purdue fans think that this is their year to win something. So they're both traveling.
Yeah, as it does every year.
Yeah. Yes, they do when they're actually playing well. But I don't know. I honestly don't see a Big Ten team making it out of the Sweet 16 or maybe
into the Sweet 16. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think
it depends on where they get placed in the bracket.
I think if you guys watched last week, I think Skibby and I are more on the same page. We didn't mind New York City because also when you think about it, everyone's just talking about how poor maybe some of the attendance was in the first couple of games. Man, at Indianapolis, the first Wednesday, Thursday, there's not a sold out crowd. No one really cares about those first games. So you really can't say, oh no, the Thursday games weren't sold out. That means New York City is a bust. No, come on. You guys are just if you want to do it like what you're talking about and compare it to Indianapolis, honestly, I think New York City was a win. I think they did really well.
That's not even the worst part of it. The worst part of it being in New York City is that we had to do it a week early, and we had to they had to prioritize other conferences over us. So our conference had to have a ridiculous condensed schedule. That's the worst part. Out of the whole thing, that is the worst part. It kind of ruined the season for us, and I feel like we might have done a bit better if our guys had had more rest on certain games.
Which,
just saying,
I'll say again, that is part of it, but that's not the main reason. The main reason is Fox Sports coming in and moving games to whatever nights they want. That is the main reason, because when you think about it, the Big Ten tournament moving up a week early is only affected 2 games, which it just condensed the schedule at the beginning of the year. It was really in December because you just made those 2 games up early. And really so if you talk about January and February being condensed, that was 100% the Fox Sports, because the Big Ten did their due diligence. They made the games up in December. So that was where most people were talking about, especially with Illinois playing 5 games in like 9 days or something like that. I don't remember what the number was and stuff like that. So really get over yourselves. It wasn't 100% the Big Ten tournament getting moved up a week early. It was just a perfect storm of things. So that wasn't it. I don't think New York was a bust, and Skibby and I talked about this last week. It's not like the Big Ten tournament's going to be there every year. So, I mean, come on. Let New York have just one time. We have Maryland and Rutgers.
They don't care about a Midwest conference, and they definitely don't care about Rutgers. I had somebody tell me that they were from New Jersey and that they went to 2 years of community college so that they could go to IU rather than going to Rutgers. It's that bad.
Still, you got to give everyone just a little bit of a bone, no matter how bad they are. You got to give just a home court advantage to everyone with Maryland and DC, and then Rutgers with New York. So
I mean, hey,
it's something that came. I think it'll come back in a few years, maybe like 10 years. I think they'll talk about it again. And honestly, it wasn't that big of a bust. But let's move on. We had more of IU season, so and we're gonna do more of bracketology, NCAA things, and right now we're kind of in limbo with figuring out stuff. So let's briefly wrap up IU season. We'll give both of we can start with Matt, and we'll give both of our just quick synopsis about how IU season went.
If I had to say what IU season was in about 2 words, it would be growth and then disappointment. I feel like both things happened. I feel like I was disappointed that we didn't win any big games. I was disappointed that Archie didn't get his marquee win. But I also saw growth in almost every single player on the court, which is promising for multiple reasons, because you can see Archie as a player developer, but you can also see Archie as what he can do when he has his guys on the floor, when he gets more talent. When Al Durham, God bless Al, when Al Durham isn't having to play the 3. So.
And I think I agree with all you just said. I just changed what you said. Instead of better talent, I would think different talent is more appropriate. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Not better talent, but more
in line of what Archie wants, which I think is the bigger thing.
Yes. Better equipped talent for Archie's system. Yes.
I agree, because I think it's really hard, and we've talked multiple episodes, you and I and multiple people have talked about how hard it is for people to change systems and stuff like that. But it's a lot easier when there are guys that naturally change on defense quicker than others. So Archie doesn't have to teach that as long, and he can work on other things and just stuff like that. And he can focus on his offense more and just running plays and stuff like that. So yeah, I agree. I think from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, the thing that sums up growth the most is that every single player, obviously we couldn't see some of the people that didn't play, but everyone who played, every single player got better from start to finish. Even people like Rob Johnson and Colin Hartman, who have been in the same system for 4 or 5 years, they've been doing their thing. They've had a completely different role. You remember, Rob Johnson has never had to been the guy on the team. His first 2 years, he had Yogi Ferrell just giving him the ball. And we also, with Crean's system, the way Rob Johnson would shoot, Crean, if you looked at a lot of the tape and stuff, he would create shots differently, create 3-point shots differently than most people. He liked to do where like players would be sprinting up and they'd be jumping into the shot more. A lot of coaches don't like to practice that, and Crean did that, and that's what Rob got used to, and that's how he was scoring a lot. And just guys like Rob and Colin, who have had this exact same system, and now they have to have not only change systems, but be a completely different role, because Colin had to fill a different role this year with all the injuries and everything. And they still got better from start to finish, and they still bought into his system. And I think that just speaks worlds to Archie's character and how he can get just a team of basically almost nobodies that for this system, after losing Thomas Bryant, OG Anunoby, James Blackman, losing these key players, and then still getting this team that's kind of basically just scrappy looking guys to still make a difference out of the entire year, and then just grow from start to finish. And yeah, I like the 2 words you used a lot. Disappointment, because disappointment that you never want to see, no matter who it is, what coach, what players, you never want to see losing to Indiana State and Fort Wayne by 20 points, let alone losing, but then let alone getting blown out. You never want to see that. And then just being so close in Duke, Michigan State, Purdue, Ohio State, all of these games. And man, I think that Ohio State loss, we didn't get to talk about this too much, but I think that Ohio State loss was the most heartbreaking out of all of them.
It definitely was. I was there in attendance.
So was I, yeah. It's senior night, man. All of these guys. And as much as we harp
footer too, as a prayer.
As much as we harp on this whole team this year, these guys are still trying. They're not blowing off. They're not like they're not being lazy and stuff. They're still trying. They've put it all out on the court. Still 5 seniors, really 4 that are playing. They're still trying their best. They're so close to pulling off this upset. They come back from being down for most of the game. They tie it. They get up ahead. They still don't lose the game, which, remember, we've never been up at the end of the game. We've always been playing from behind. So that was different that they were able to do that and maintain that. They got it to tie it. They went into overtime, and they kept just fighting and fighting. And Juwan Morgan saves the day in 7 seconds left. And basically, you think there's, 2 or 3 seconds or something like that when they had,
throws up a prayer from 32 feet.
Which Josh, people are gonna, again, they harp on him all the time for stuff that honestly isn't his fault. They harp on him for being bad defense, but he played excellent defense, honestly, because you can't foul.
He contested from 32 feet and didn't foul.
And
the guy still made it. Was just a magic shot. And then, of course, we get it in, and I was like, we should give it to Devontae because Devontae hits these stupid half-court shots. We gave it to Josh, and Josh almost hit it. I thought it was going in.
It was pretty close.
This is Josh Newkirk's crowning moment. I can see the Angels guiding the ball in.
Dude, he had a good game, too.
He had a good
excellent game. He had one of the
better games. Of course, he had a bad turnover or two. But that's it's given. It's him. But on his standards, it was a good game. I don't know. Promising is also another one of the words I would use.
I agree.
Just because so many underclassmen, or not seniors, I should say, were the factors in this team. And they're all coming back next year. Justin Smith, great player. He's going to be a great player at IU. Juwan Morgan's going to be a special senior next year.
I don't think he's leaving.
Davis coming back off of injury as a junior next year. Who else we got? We got Al Durham. Looks like a very, very good guard. Devontae Green, if he can figure it out.
I think he will.
Going to be a junior next year. Looking good. Our freshmen coming in look really good.
We got Zach McRoberts coming back. Zach
McRoberts. Yes, my bad. Zach McRoberts. Sorry. He'll be a special senior next year. He learns how to shoot.
He's getting better.
He knows how to shoot. When to shoot.
Yeah.
Which is more often, please. Because literally every time he takes it, he makes it. Like, I don't care if you miss a couple. Just take some. Ugh. But anyways. All of our players have increased. They're making me excited for next year. We get the guy down south. Race Thompson looks really good, and we forget about him because he redshirted this year and just sat on the bench. And in practice, he gets to match up against Juwan.
And probably Justin now, too. And probably Justin,
all day.
Dunking over everyone.
Yeah, he gets to match up against them all the time, which means he's going to be so good. He's going to be one of the better freshmen.
He's probably been licking his chops the whole year.
Oh, he is ready. You can see him when he does warm-ups, too. He's one of the better three-point shooters. I'm like, this guy is 6'8", 6'9", is one of the better three-point shooters on the team. I am so excited for him to play. And Clifton didn't even play this year, and he was supposed to be the 24th pick of the 2019 draft. So
he's got a long way to go for
He's got a long way to go for that, but I think all of our players are promising under Archie, giving them another summer to sit there, get conditioned, get better, work on their shots, get the freshmen in, maybe get Mr. Superstar.
Even if we miss out on him.
Even if we don't, I still think we're a tournament team. I don't think we're a Big Ten championship winning team.
No, not yet. But I agree. I think.
But with Romeo, I think we're not only a Big Ten championship winning team. I think we're almost a lock for the Elite Eight next year if we get Romeo.
That's some very early predictions right there.
I guarantee you, because the point guard position will figure itself out. But 2 through 5, we literally have depth at every single position. We have one player underneath that has either played major minutes this year or Archie can trust next year. So.
I also think quickly before we before we hop off with back to Clifton, I think Archie was kind of redshirting him this year in his own little way. Obviously, it didn't really happen because he still had a year of eligibility.
Him because he just used a year of his scholarship and played about 20 minutes.
But you know what I mean. I think he was. I think he was supposed to be contributing. I think he wasn't really living up to expectations. And then Archie's like, "All right, I'm just going to sit him down and work with him over time."
He's one of those people where if he doesn't trust you on defense, he ain't going to play you. And we all know Clifton Moore's very promising offensively. So that's not the problem. I think the problem is the fact that maybe switching is hard for him. Yes, he does look very awkward when he's on the court walking around. So maybe another summer under his belt gets, into the full swing of things. So I'm excited. I really am.
Exactly, yeah. I think to wrap up, but before we hop off, out of how roller coaster ride this season was, I am very, very optimistic for the future. Archie is the guy, and I've said it since the beginning. I haven't really said it on air yet, but he's the next Coach K. He's the next Bill Self. He's the next big guys. He's going to get there, and I'm saying it now. 20 years down the road, Archie is going to be the next of the top caliber coaches, the top Izzos of all of that stuff, and he is going to be a great coach.
I'm obviously rooting for that, but even me who likes, bold predictions, I'm not going that far yet.
I think your Elite Eight was more bold than mine, saying Archie was going to be an elite coach.
I don't know. I guess we'll see next year.
I guess we will see next year. But that about wraps it up for our 26th show of the Hoosier Sound. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember, 100% join us next week so we can talk to Andy Bottoms about March Madness and bracketology. This is going to be a great show. This is going to be a great show, and you're going to get anything and everything right before March Madness starts. So, yeah, don't put it off, too, because remember, games start Thursday, and we go live Tuesday. But a reminder to follow us.
Tuesday at 9. Be there or be square.
We're moving it back just a little to accommodate for Andy. Yes. But a reminder to follow us on Twitter at The Hoosier Sound, like our Facebook page, as well as subscribe to us on YouTube. If you enjoy the show, these are vital for receiving updates about our show. Visit our website, thehoosiersound.com, to find all of our information regarding our podcast, and stay tuned for updates through social media. As always, send us your questions as the audience, so be sure to comment, chat, or send us a message at contact@thehoosiersound.com on what question you have, and we'll get them on our next episode, especially for someone where we have a special guest next week. That might be a great time to send some questions in for a world-renowned bracketologist.
Bracketology!
Lastly, if you enjoy our show, leave us a review, tell a friend, share our links. It really helps so we can grow this podcast. But, as always, thank you for listening, Hoosier Nation, and we'll see you next time.